Here are the top stories for today, December 8, 2021. A sigh of relief amid the pandemic, prices of some drugs and medicines for leading causes of death will remain affordable under a new executive order signed by President Rodrigo Duterte. No let-up in achieving protection. The Health Department aims to fully vaccinate some 7 million Filipinos during the second round of the 3-day massive inoculation drive from December 15 to 17. Recovery on track. The number of unemployed Filipinos dip as more industries reopen under relaxed quarantine rules. And off to the north, a PUV driver and 4 families return to the province of La Union with the hope of a fresh start during the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Staying true to his promise of providing a comfortable life to more Filipinos, President Rodrigo Duterte signed an executive order regulating the cost of pharmaceuticals and treatments needed to address the country's top causes of morbidity. This is to ensure that more Filipinos will be able to buy affordable and quality medicines. Under Executive Order 155, price regulation via maximum retail price and or maximum wholesale price will be imposed on 34 drug molecules and 71 drug formulas used in agents affecting bone metabolism, analgesics, anesthetics, anti-angina, anti-rhythmics, anti-asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease medicines, antibiotics, anticoagulants, anticonvulsants, anti-diabetic drugs, anti-diuretics, and anti-mimetics. Also covered by the executive order are drug molecules and formulas utilized in anti-glaucoma, anti-hypercholesterolemia medicines, anti-hypertensive medicines, anti-neoplastic, anti-cancer medicines, anti-Parkinson's drugs, drugs for overactive bladders, growth hormone inhibitors, immunosuppressant drugs, iron chelating agents, as well as psoriasis, seborrhea, and ichthyosis medicines. The Secretary of Health is directed to investigate alleged violations of the law and may impose administrative fines of not less than 50,000 pesos nor more than 5 million pesos. No more Christmas gatherings in Baguio City. Meanwhile, Sorsogon and Negros Oriental are working double time to achieve population protection before the year ends. The details from Marita Muahe.
In Baguio City, residents are reminded not to hold gatherings and parties this Christmas season. This is to prevent a surge in COVID-19 cases, especially with the threat of the Omicron variant. Mayor Benjamin Magalong said he is hoping that Omicron will not hit the city. But looking at the latest developments, he said there is a big possibility that it may happen. Magalong said while everybody enjoys the Yuletide season, there should be continuous observance of the safety protocols to avoid problems after having fun. In Sorsogon, Governor Francis Escudero has expressed confidence that the province will be able to achieve the desired population protection against COVID-19 before the year ends. Escudero said many of those who were given the first dose of vaccine during the National Vaccination Days would be given their second dose before the year ends. As such, they are expecting to achieve at least 84.7% fully vaccinated rate for their population aged 12 and above. Sorsogon Province is aiming to vaccinate 598,500 people to achieve 70% of population protection. Meanwhile, in Negros Oriental, the provincial government is continuing its inoculation efforts even after the initial nationwide COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Assistant Provincial Health Officer Dr. Leland Estacion said the province still has about 41,000 doses of Moderna, Pfizer, and Sinovac vaccines. She said the provincial mobile vaccination team has lined up out-of-town schedules to assist the LGUs in the vaccination rollout. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muahe.
Malacanang is elated over the country's jump in the Nikkei COVID-19 Recovery Index. This is based on the country's COVID-19 effort to lower the infection, as well as measures undertaken to control, vaccinate, and provide mobility to the people. The recent Nikkei COVID-19 Recovery Index placed the country to 57th, which is a big jump to its previous 103rd spot. Acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles welcomed the result, saying this is 46 spots higher compared to the country's ranking in October among 120 countries.
This latest Nikkei Asia COVID-19 Recovery Index is a clear indication that we have successfully contained the highly transmissible Delta variant. That being said, we urge our people to remain vigilant, especially during the holiday season, when everyone is looking forward to seeing their loved ones. Totoo po, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but the only way we can get to the end is if we continue to carefully watch our steps. Ituloy po natin ang mask wearing, paghugas ng kamay, ang social distancing, at ang pagbabakuna. Let us do this not just for ourselves, but especially for our loved ones.
The government targets to administer the second dose of around 7 million Filipinos during the second run of the national vaccination days. The first round of the 3-day vaccination program was held last November 29 to December 1. It was extended to December 3 due to more Filipinos wanting to get vaccinated.
Tuloy-tuloy yung ating demand generation, para ang mga kababayan natin ay samantalahin yung ating second round ng massive national vaccination program na mangyayari itong December 15 to 17. Yung una natin was from November 29 to December 1. Doon nga ay tagumpay naman ang ating nakamit na pinuntilya natin. Although, of course, hindi siya 100% noong December 1, mga 90% siya. Pero noong December 3, umabot tayo ng lampas 9 million ang nagkaroon ng nabigyan ng bakuna. So, ang pinuntilya natin for the first 3-day national vaccination program or activities ay 54 million magkaroon ng first dose. At ngayon naman, ang magpupursige tayo na maabot naman yung 54 million magkaroon na ng complete dose or 2-dose inoculation.
Filipinos and foreign diplomats arriving from red list countries are exempted from the travel ban. The Bureau of Immigration said the new policy was adopted amid the threat of the Omicron COVID-19 variant. Among those who are covered by the exemption are Philippine officials and their delegations on official travel abroad, returning Philippine diplomats and their dependents, returning Philippine Foreign Service post personnel, and foreign diplomats and their dependents. To date, the Philippines has placed 14 countries on its red list until December 15. These are the countries of South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, Austria, the Czech Republic, Hungary, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Belgium, and Italy. In our world news, British Health Secretary Sajid Javid said the Omicron coronavirus variant is now spreading in the UK through community transmission. He said a total of 336 cases of Omicron have been recorded in the UK, of which 261 are in England, 71 in Scotland, and 4 in Wales. Javid warned that he could not guarantee that Omicron would not knock them off the road to recovery. He mentioned some steps to be taken to control the spread of the Omicron variant. This includes a negative COVID-19 test taken within 48 hours before departing from non-red list countries. The negative result would be required regardless of their vaccination status. He also noted that Nigeria has been added to the red list. The United Kingdom has so far recorded 51,459 new cases of COVID-19 as of Monday, bringing the total number of cases since the start of the pandemic to over 10.5 million. Still ahead, the country's vaccine czar says efforts to promote, foster peace and development continues amid the pandemic. And traveling with care is a must for many Filipinos as destinations slowly but safely reopen their borders. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Commander Dito Ocampo po ng Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary para sa kumpanyang Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Bakit natin kailangan magpabakuna laban sa COVID-19? Dahil mahal mo ang iyong sarili, pamilya at bayan. Ang bakuna ang tiyak na paraan para tuluyang mapigilan ang pagkalat ng virus. May mga patunay na mababa ang porsyento ng pagkalat ng COVID-19 sa mga nabakunahan na. At matapos mabakunahan, malaki na ang tsansa na makabalik ka sa normal mong pamumuhay. Kaya tulad ko magparehistro na at magpabakuna na kontra COVID-19. Muli po, ako si Commander Dito Ocampo, Disiplina Muna Ambassador. Nagpapaalala, huwag matakot magpabakuna dahil bida ang may disiplina. Magparehistro tayo at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
Yorme Isko po, bakuna po ang ating kasangga sa patuloy na pandemya. Kaya upang maproteksyonan ang ating sarili at mga mahal sa buhay, huwag po nating palampasin ang pagkakataong magpabakuna sa lalong madaling panahon. Tandaan na sa patuloy na laban kontra COVID-19, ang disiplinadong Pilipino ay rehistrado para maging bakunado. Magparehistro, magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan. Manila, God first.
Adopting President Rodrigo Duterte as a senatorial bet is proof of the president's many accomplishments. This is the remark of acting presidential spokesperson and cabinet secretary Carlo Nograles on the offer of Manila Mayor Isko Moreno to include the president under his ticket. Dumagoso, who is running for president under the Acción Democrático Party, said he believed President Duterte is a qualified candidate and he is also willing to adopt him as the fourth senatorial candidate. Nograles, however, refused to say whether or not Duterte will accept Dumagoso's offer. President Duterte earlier filed his candidacy for senator under the Federalismo ng Dugong Dakilang Samahan or PDDS, which is an allied party of the ruling party PDP Laban.
Patunay ito sa kumpiyansa ng marami sa ating mga kababayan sa kanya na pagbinigyan po siya ng pagkakataon na makapagpatuloy ng kanyang serbisyo sa Senado ay may pagpatuloy niya ang lahat ng mga ito. Pero ayaw ko rin pong pangunahan kung ano ang mangyayari sa susunod na araw at sa susunod na buwan at ayaw ko rin pangunahan anong magiging desisyon ng ibang mga kandidato na tumatakbo at iba't ibang mga partido na nais pang mag-endorse kay Pangulong Duterte.
The government's peace process program continues amid the pandemic, including the implementation of the agreement between the government and former combatants of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF. Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said their office is collaborating with several agencies, such as the Department of National Defense, Department of the Interior and Local Government, Armed Forces of the Philippines, and the Philippine National Police to achieve milestones in addressing insurgency problems. He also said they will also help achieve peaceful and orderly 2022 elections.
Despite the challenges brought about by the pandemic, the peace process in the country continues to be implemented. The implementation of the peace agreement is transforming former combatants and their families into peaceful and productive individuals, and conflict-affected communities to peaceful, developed, and resilient communities. And the Duterte administration established a strong foundation in the implementation of the signed peace agreement for the next administration to build upon and sustain the gains of peace, particularly in Mindanao. I will do my best at isosolve namin po ang problema sa ground with the help of Secretary Delfin Lorzana and Secretary Anyo.
Efforts to rebuild the tourism industry on the side of the traveling public has given rise to the so-called conscious traveler who visits a place in ways that could also benefit local communities both economically and socially. In a commissioned research forwarded by Airbnb on Tuesday, over 80% of Filipinos polled said it is important that their travel creates a positive impact for locals. About 75% of Filipinos value using travel to meaningfully connect with communities and culture, including immersing themselves in local communities when they travel. Over 70% of the respondents are also more inclined to contribute to the local economy, while 76% said they will be more conscious in familiarizing themselves with what is important to the communities they are visiting. For Airbnb, the rise in conscious travel serves as an opportunity for communities to grow their local economies off the back of the travel rebound. In our business news, job seekers flocked off to the Cebu Trade Hall of SM City, Cebu to avail of more than 3,000 job vacancies that were up for grabs in a blended jobs and business fairs event on Wednesday. The activity is part of the celebration of the Department of Labor and Employment's 88th founding anniversary. Over 1,500 local jobs and around 1,600 openings abroad were offered. Job seekers applied for the jobs via face-to-face at the physical venue or online. For local employment, the top 5 positions needed are customer service representatives, sewing operators, inbound travel sales representatives, and financial account specialists and officers. The top 5 job postings overseas are factory workers, housekeeping and general cleaners, general nurses, waiters or waitresses, and company drivers. Fewer Filipinos have become unemployed in October as pandemic restrictions eased in most areas across the country, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. The country's unemployment rate fell to 7.4% in October from 8.9% in September, making this the third lowest for this year, only behind July data at 6.9% and March data at 7.1%. 234,000 jobs were added to the labor market in October, bringing the total employment to 1.3 billion above the pre-pandemic levels. In a joint statement, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Kendrick Chua, Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III, and Budget Officer in charge Tina Rose Marie Canda said the unemployment numbers prove that the country is on track for strong and early recovery. They said the October 2021 labor force survey results affirmed the soundness of the government's push to safely reopen the economy, restore employment, and manage the spread of COVID-19. Up next, beefing up defense, the government sets aside 62 billion pesos for the acquisition of more air assets and offshore patrol vessels. And we listen to stories of hope from the latest beneficiaries of the Blik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. More stories when the PNA Newsroom returns. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly changed our lives for the worse. Lives and jobs were lost and economies reached a meltdown. Thanks to the arrival of safe and effective vaccines, we are one step closer to normalcy. It's time to do our part, get vaccinated for our safety and for our recovery.
You are there in that community, go there and have yourself vaccinated by any of the vaccines available. They are all potent, they are all effective.
I would like to appeal to all our kababayans, please get vaccinated against COVID-19 and be the government partner in preventing further spread of the disease. I encourage you to get vaccinated as soon as possible time. These vaccines are safe and they are the key to reopening our society. The need for international solidarity and cooperation cannot be made clearer than this pandemic, because everyone is safe. No one is safe globally until everybody is safe.
Vaccines work. Amid efforts to modernize the Philippine Armed Forces, the government is buying 32 more Polish-made S-70I Black Hawk combat utility helicopters for the Air Force and 6 offshore patrol vessels or OPVs for the Philippine Navy. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana announced on Tuesday the approval of 62 billion pesos worth of funding for the new helicopters and vessels. Lorenzana also bared plans to acquire the OPVs from Australian defense manufacturer and shipbuilder Austal and Poland's PZL Mielec for the helicopters. He clarified that there is still no contract yet issued for these assets. The Philippine Air Force earlier completed the acquisition of 16 Black Hawk helicopters from PZL Mielec worth $241 million. The newly acquired S-70Is were deployed to transport COVID-19 vaccines in remote areas around the country. The government continues to keep its promise to help rehabilitate New People's Army rebels who have returned to the folds of the law. About 125 former rebels and 15 associations from conflict-affected areas in Agusan del Norte received 7.2 million pesos in financial aid. The former rebels received 20,000 each via the Sustainable Livelihood Assistance of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. 20 other former rebels also received 10,000 pesos in cash each under the DSWD's assistance to individuals in crisis situation. 15 grassroots association in conflict-vulnerable areas in Agusan del Norte also received financial assistance worth 300,000 pesos each from the SLP of the DSWD. Meanwhile, 7.2 million pesos in livelihood assistance was handed over to the former rebels and associations. The distribution at the Agusan del Norte Capital Covered Court was led by Governor Dale Cordera and DSWD Caraga Director Ramel Hamen. A 40-year-old tricycle driver and his family is one of the latest beneficiaries of the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. Ricarte Floresca said he had to stop working for a while because tricycles have had to run at less than the normal capacity. After more than a year of unstable work, Floresca decided to go home to La Union and avail of the benefits offered by the government. While he is happy to be back home, Floresca sees some livelihood opportunities despite his old age. The Floresca family was among the 11 families who underwent dispatch proceedings for their departure on Tuesday. Aside from the Florescas, 3 other families who also availed of the BP2 program were also sent home to La Union. DSWD Ilocos Region BP2 focal person Reza Pilotin said the families are composed of 17 individuals. She added the 4 families will now settle down in their hometown in Sudipen, Aringay, Nagilian Towns, and San Fernando City. Each of the families received a family food pack from the provincial government, and their transportation was shouldered by the DSWD. Two of the families from Aringay and San Fernando City received 40 square meter housing units from the National Housing Authority, or NHA. An indigenous peoples tribe in Kalinog, Iloilo is getting an environment-friendly town hall with the Eco Bahay project. The Iloilo Provincial Government nonprofit youth organization Eco Youth Philippines and Robinson's Place signed a memorandum of agreement 3 years ago for the establishment of the project. A groundbreaking activity was held on Monday, led by Iloilo Governor Arthur Defensor Jr. and Kalinog Mayor Francisco Calvo. The town hall is made of eco bottles collected through the Trash in a Bottle program launched way back in 2015 and the Bote Ko Ipalit Ko program in 2019. They will be mixing cement for the posts, while the windows will have bamboo as additional materials to also preserve the culture of the Api community. Other barangays in Kalinog with an IP community have expressed interest in the project. Those who are willing to donate bottles can coordinate with the Provincial Environment and Natural Office at the Iloilo Provincial Capital. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. A sigh of relief amid the pandemic, prices of some drugs and medicines for leading causes of death will remain affordable under a new executive order signed by President Rodrigo Duterte. No let-up in achieving protection. The Health Department aims to fully vaccinate some 7 million Filipinos during the second round of the 3-day massive inoculation drive from December 15 to 17. Recovery on track. The number of unemployed Filipinos dip as more industries reopen under relaxed quarantine rules. And off to the north, a PUB driver and 4 families return to the province of La Union with the hope of a fresh start during the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And on to our holiday countdown. It is 17 more days to go before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day. Stay safe, everyone.